How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Dammit Goldie with us today. They can say their names and what they do in the band.
I'm Josh Smith, and I do the singing and guitar playing.
He's also one of the principal writers.
Hey.
I'm Tommy. I do drums. I hit stuff, and I do some backup vocals.
He does hit stuff. I can't confirm on that one. But thanks, guys, for coming on. Also, again, we were talking off camera. Big salutes to James. He is the man. I love him. He's the man, the myth, the legend. So, James, I don't know who I have to talk to get you a raise, but you deserve a raise, bud. All right.
You're gem.
Gem of a man. But guys, I wanted to ask, since I had just checked your music out, I was telling the guys I was just making up a nice quick dinner. I was listening to some Dammit Goldie, to get me through making that dinner real quick. But I don't know anything in regards to how your band started out. So what is the origin story of Dammit Goldie? How'd you guys form? Spare no expense. I like to hear all of it. So, give me all the details.
You want to give your version, and then I'll give mine?
I love it.
Well, I was trying to start a band a while ago, and me and my original bass player, Tristan, who is the guy that actually shoots our music videos now, we were auditioning people, and we auditioned Evan, I think, first, and we just meshed really well, and he ended up being the guitar player. But for years, it was just him and I. We were writing songs, trying to find band members, but we'd go through so many people just because nothing really clicked. We'd come on, and it's just like they could be very talented, but it's just like we didn't mesh well. And then over COVID and quarantine starting and whatnot, we decided we were going to leave Toronto and move to Hamilton with our last drummer. But that didn't end up working out with him, but we still moved here anyway. And in doing so, we were looking for roommates. And through Tommy's old singer, who was actually going to be our roommate, he ended up backing out and then suggesting Tommy to be our roommates. We're like, sweet. So we found this decent house and we all moved into it. And Tommy's like really trained and good at drums. He went to Mohawk and he does jazz and all that other funky stuff. And I'm very self-taught and total opposite end of the spectrum. But I just basically showed him songs for like a long time. I was like, check this out, trying to get him interested in being in the band. And finally, one day, the first song that we jammed was the one you listened to, Moods. And
nice.
Before, yeah, that song originally didn't have a bridge. It was just verse, chorus.
Wow.
And that was the song we jammed. And then we ended up jamming out that bridge that's in it. And he brought in our bass player, who's actually now leaving the group to do his. But he found him, brought him in, and he was great for while he was in the band. He's also very trained and just a wicked bass player. And then I kind of jumped the gun a bit because before everyone was even in the band, I was like, hey, we should record with someone. And they were like, all right. So I ended up getting a hold of the guy who recorded Alexis on Fire, Julius.
What?
And he was like, so this is what it'll be. And we were working out like how we were going to record and what day we were going to do it and how we were going to work out the cost of everything and whatnot. And then out of nowhere, he's just like, I was looking at the Google Drive and Wade McNeil had been added to the song. And I was like, what is this all about? And then turned out he wanted to bring him in to work. And I was like, so I came to everyone. I was like, so guys, this is what's happening. And then Tommy in that moment was like, well, I can get us a bass player. And that's when he brought in Cam, who was just supposed to come in to like do recording originally, but then he ended up really liking it and wanting to stick around. And that obviously got Tommy a bit more interested as well. And we went through like quite a few names. I contacted the guy that did Tool, and he was insanely expensive, like very out of our price range for 3 songs. But we talked to a lot of people. And Julius ended up being the one that meshed the best with us and everything we needed. And then from there on, everyone was just kind of on board.
And he has such an amazing studio. It's Arc Recording Studio in Hamilton. And they do just exceptional work. It's beautiful.
What about your side, Tommy?
Yeah, my side of things. You know what? we've told this story a couple times, so now it's starting to kind of
It's starting to formulate.
Because yeah, essentially, I had graduated school. I wasn't really looking to do the rock band stuff. I had done punk bands and rock bands and all that shit all growing up. And then I went back to school just to kind of do hired work, right? Make some money.
Sure, yeah.
Play my drums, right? So I had graduated and I was looking to move to Hamilton because that's where I graduated. All the musicians I was playing with were living down here.
Sure.
And yeah, Pete, the singer of my last punk band, messaged me. He's like, hey, this band that we played with, like with my old band, like 5 years ago, right? They're looking for like a third person to get a place in Hamilton. So I was like, okay, put them in touch. So we started looking at places, found the place. And yeah, Josh was coming at me to join his band for like a solid 6 months. Right? And I'm like, oh,
persistent.
man,
I love it.
Right? I'm like, I'm just looking to get paid. I don't like none of that, right? But then he played me a couple tunes acoustically, which was actually funny enough, both Something's Missing and Moods.
Wow. Okay.
And I was like, okay, so there's pretty solid songwriting, right? I was like, okay. And that was the first thing that kind of piqued my interest. But then they were auditioning drummers and bass players, and they had a bass player coming in, so I sat in on drums for them to do the audition. We all jammed together. And that was kind of like another point where it was like, okay, I'm really liking this. And I remember saying, like, let me find a bass player, right? It just graduated with some guys that were great, right?
Sure, yeah.
And Cam just has such a natural stage presence. He's such a good player, and such a nice dude that he was like my first call. Because by this point, now Josh had been looking at different studios, and we had that. So that was kind of how I roped him in, right? I was like, hey,
the ball was moving, yeah.
Protest the Hero, Alexis on Fire, all these bands have recorded with this guy, man. Like, fuck yeah, I'm down for that, right?
Who wouldn't be? Yeah.
Yeah, so then we did that, and that was a great experience. We recorded the 3 singles we released over this past, half a year. Something's Missing, Moods, and then the newest one, Medusa. And then from there, me and Cam both kind of decided we were just going to do this. And that's where I flipped back to the rock band thing, because now I do a lot less hired work.
You just do the rock band. Wow, what a 180. That's crazy. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you found, you're just like, at first you're like, yeah, I'm just going to help him out. He's my roommate. I got to try to, help him out in that end. And then meanwhile, you're just like, all right, so Josh, this is what we're doing. This is our game plan. You have like a whole like board out. You're like, okay, we're going to do this. We found a bass player, so we check that off. Now we're going to record these songs. Okay, that's sick. Alexis on Fire. Okay, we'll check that off. That's great. You
have no idea how accurate your depiction
Man, I'm glad I nailed it to a T.
This, and then with this, and this is what we got next. I'm very much like that.
Oh, I think I could just tell like the aura, because I'm very much like that. When I like have bands interview, I'm always like, okay, gotta listen to their songs. How many of their songs can I like get into like my normal way of life? Okay, cool. I'll get a couple songs in. It'll kind of give me a flavor what the band I'm having on tonight. Cool. Who are some of the bands that I kind of think of that like are similar in vibe or like feeling, and I'm like, okay, it's these bands. So I think I think Tommy and I are cut from the same cloth here. So that was just a long-winded way of saying that, and we just met. Right. So this is, it's cute. It's very cute. But
spot on.
There we go. And obviously it must have been an amazing time to work with like the Canadian legends that is Alexis on Fire. I always say to myself, like, man, that would be a band to have on. I'm such a huge like Dallas Green fan that I feel like I would probably like shit my pants if I ever got the chance to like interview him. So Dallas Green, if you just want me to like poo my pants, DM me. Would love to. I mean, I'll do it. It's not something I.
Never talk to you again.
He'll never talk. He'll be like, yeah, man, so I'm gonna do this interview one time and that's it, just so that can happen.
It was great. Wade was fantastic. Like super nice guy. He was like a big portion of our guitar layering.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Brought in a bunch of gear and was super nice about it all. Letting everyone use it. There was one day where we showed up and Chris was there.
What?
And they were,
So
yeah,
sick.
and he was only there for like the first 20 minutes we were there, and then he took off.
Which was nerve-wracking because he came just as we were laying down the rough vocals, like the scratch vocals.
Yeah.
And it was the hardest of the bunch to sing at the time. And he was in there, and they just wanted me to sing the song from start to finish. And I was like, well, it was enough having just Wade, and now there's two of the guys. Like, damn it, okay.
Yeah, I'd be shell shocked. Wouldn't even know what to do. I would think I would.
My performance. I was very nervous.
How did you feel after it was done, Josh? I'm sure you felt a relief, like a wave of relief after you're done singing all that stuff.
I did, but at the same point, I was like, I wish I had been a bit more prepared. I didn't know he was going to be there. We literally were outside and we came in and he was there. We're like, oh,
always
be prepared. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
never
that.
Who could walk through the door?
That's
right?
Yeah. That's what I say. You know, I'm very much on the same train. Like when I'll kind of out myself. So I interviewed Kingdom of Giants over the weekend, which check out them. They're awesome. And I had forgot that I had left one of my SD cards for like I record separately from my camera, and I left it and I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do? Like I don't have any of my microphone, like I can't record the audio. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna take my phone out, download like an audio app, and then like dub it over and like just cut it up like I normally do. So if you guys watch that interview, thank you for watching it, because it'll come out like just before this one does in the same week time span or whatever. So cool. But
So
yeah,
if you're go back and watch that if you haven't.
yes.
Yeah.
But then you should come back and watch this one, because this one's gonna be good. I got the vibes. I'm feeling it. So just let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. I don't think so. I'd like for you to out me if this isn't a good interview. Then I need to know. So.
But it's a sick interview because you got the guys with Goldie.
Yeah, they're so sick, bro. I mean, they're a band that worked with Alexis on Fire. That's so rad. So, come on, guys, listen.
Well,
I always bring you best.
Tyler Smythe master it. He worked with. He's working with Falling in Reverse, and we had Ted Jensen master Something's Missing, and he's worked with everybody under the sun from Green Day to Norah Jones. Yeah, right? Like it was pretty heavy first few seasons.
You guys are killing it.
And financially, I went in head. I was like, you know what? If we're gonna do this and get everyone fully on board, this has to be like everything top of the game.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, but luckily it all worked out in our favor, and the product that we got is like, I was really like, to be honest, whenever you're recording something and you hear the rough of everything, you're always worried. No matter where you record, you're like,
sure, yeah,
I don't know if I'm going to sound good or if am I just horrible. And then you hear the finished product and you're like, wow, this is great, and I'm really glad we did this.
Yeah, Juice is a master. He's so good. Like his mixing and just his recording process, it was like super easy going there. And yeah, like he was just a pleasure to deal with.
And Wade has so much knowledge with like guitars and pedals and different stuff like that. He was making our guitars sound like stuff that we'd never heard, and he was mixing different pedals and doing different things that in some cases sounded like so raunchy that you're like, no, that's not going to work. But then you hear it mixed with like other things, and it's like, oh, that's really cool. And you just like, it was a big like learning experience.
Yeah, he'd get Evan to lay down a guitar riff with this effect that he put on, and it's like just whack, right? It's just like this sounds like shit.
You're like, there's no way this is gonna sound good. Yeah.
But then like afterwards, you see that the whole time the gears were working in Wade's head, because he's like, well, this is just the base of the tone that I'm going for, right? Because then by the time you stack those 3 tones or whatever, it's like the most unreal tone you've ever heard, right? It's just like, oh, it was really, really good working with them.
I will say that as well. Like I was like as I mentioned earlier, I was making dinner. And I was listening intently to some of the stuff because I wasn't really focusing on anything else. I was just really just like, let me make this dinner as fast as possible, but also like really like listening. And if I didn't know that, I would have been like, man, this is some really good guitar tone. Like I don't know how they did it, but it sounds nuts. And then to know that, again, Wade was on it as well as just the way that he like intelligently like stacked all the tones together to make this just like dirty, like gritty sound, but it just has this like clarity to it. I loved it. I'm obviously I don't know if you guys can see, but I have a guitar back there in the corner, so I dabble. I know a little bit, but I was like I was actually floored. I was like, man, this is actually so good for a band that wasn't familiar with as of today. Like you guys have such a great like already good sound, so I'm curious to see like as you guys progress how much further along you guys, how further along the sound will go because really enjoyed both the moods and something missing. They're I would say like polar opposites because I want to give you guys a shout outs for the music videos because they were both great, but looked at the like thumbnail of moods and I'm like, is this gonna be like a fucking stupid heavy band? Like I was expecting like a deathcore band or something because it's just a mask. So I was like, okay, so they're gonna be heavy, like they're gonna like blow my pants off heavy. And so I clicked the video. I was like, okay, it's not gonna be what I am expecting it to be. And then I got through the entire song. I was like, shit, this is good. Let me give Something's Missing a listen. And I was like, oh, that's what I was looking for. That I think out of the two that I listened to, I think Something's Missing may be a little bit more in my wheelhouse, but Moods was also good. I just want to say like both songs were killer. I'm excited to listen to Medusa. Reaction video will be out before this video comes out, so check it out. Links below.
It's funny that you say that too, right? Because like Dammit Goldie, one of the fun parts about this band is that it's not very much like linked to one specific sound. There's like a through line. Like Josh's voice is very distinct. Like there's
Agreed.
aspects of, and tones that we tend to use that kind of make it all sound similar, but we do kind of bend genres a bit, right? So it's funny because there is a stream of people that love Something's Missing and people that love moods. You get grunge guys that are into the moods, then you get more of the pop punk guys that are into Something's Missing, right? And with Medusa, we kind of went a slight bit. There's a bit of like an almost like alt metalish vibe with mixed in with all that, right? Like a harder alternative rock kind of aspect to it.
Yeah, I feel like the alt rock tab that you guys like the umbrella of genre that you have been put under. I think that's I feel like that's a pretty good representation of that because there was bands that I was like trying to listen to and I was like, do they have like inspiration from these bands? And it was really hard to place. Like, and then the last bit of moods, I was just like, what are they doing? And then I looked up and I saw like Josh was holding up some hot sauce. I was like, a band after my own heart. I love a good hot sauce. So I'm gonna have to grab one if you guys still have one. But
Oh yeah, do back shortly.
oh, okay. Well, I'll keep my eyes out. But I was like, am I getting an advertisement in the middle, like the end of a song? I was like, this seems a little weird, but I also was like, this is sick because I feel like the perfect time to talk about something of yours is like at the end of a music video when someone's like, oh, I'm going to click the video. And then it's just like, oh, hey, so we have this really sick hot sauce. Are you a hot sauce fan? You like hot sauce? Here's some hot sauce. And I was like, okay, I got you. I respect that. I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I respect that they did this because very easily they could have made a separate video, but the sheer fact that they attached it onto the end of the music video, I think that's we're playing 3D chess here, so I like it. I got to give you guys kudos for that because it was good.
Oh, thank you.
But for Something's Missing, the bands that kind of stuck out to me, or at least like influence wise, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong because we're going to be talking about influences in just a second, but Um, two bands that I thought of was like the newest Alexis on Fire album. I think you guys kind of have like this otherness vibe to you. So I was like, okay. And just the sheer fact that you guys had Wade on the songs, I was like, okay, now that my logic checks. So I was like, okay, check one. And the other band that it reminded me of is like Rise Against, like a little bit of like that like hard rock kind of edge to it. I didn't feel like it's more. I don't feel like Something's Missing was in that pop punk genre. I was almost like whatever genre like Rise Against is hitting, like that hard rock, like alt rock sort of sound. I think you guys kind of encapsulate that sort of sound. I think Josh kind of has a similar tonality to that of Rise Against singer. So I was like, okay, I'm vibing with this. This hit like the nostalgia. The nostalgia is like tick in my brain. So I was like, I like that. But those were the only two bands. I honestly moods threw me for a loop. I was like, I don't. What am I? I was like, I should give another song another listen. Like I should give the other songs that they have out because I was like, moods feels like that one song that is like the odd man out. Like it's the one that's like, okay, like if you like this, you really like it, and if you don't like it, then I feel like you're kind of like on the fence. It's like it's a good song, but like maybe it doesn't hit the same way. I feel like Something's Missing. If you don't like it from the gate, you might not like it.
Yeah.
Not that it's a bad song. I love it. I think
Oh.
it's great. But I think it's like that song that you get right into and you're immediately like thrown into that shit, you know? So I like that. Yeah, I like when songs just like give you zero time to breathe. That's how I felt. You know, I was just like, it's almost as you picked me up and just dropped me into the song. And I was like, okay, this is good. I like this. So I'm curious where Moonduce is at in that thought process.
I think it's gonna throw you for another loop because those first two songs are actually in like a drop D tuning, so they're higher from drop B, which is like Slipknot tuning.
Yes.
So it's deeper, heavier sounding. It's got a little bit more screaming, so it's almost like. Well, I guess if you were to compare us to Rise Against, I'd say this one's more of like a Bring Me the Horizon meets Rise Against type.
Ooh, okay.
Got heavy elements, but it's also got like very like I don't know rock. I don't know punk rock elements.
Yeah.
As well.
Okay.
It's all over.
I've heard the Bring Me the Horizon comparison a couple times to Medusa.
Okay. Well, we're gonna debunk that myth.
Well, it
with
kind of
that
like
video.
He's huge into like Mike Patton.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they tend to like Faith No More tends to jump around a lot, right?
Yeah. Yes, they do. Yeah.
Kind of makes a bit more sense
that makes more sense. Yeah.
We also have two principal writers, right? He's the other principal writer, so that also adds to the differences in sounds track to track sometimes as well. Kind of like a heavy Sloan.
You know what? Wow. Oh shit. Yeah. I didn't think about that. That now that you put that in my head, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. That's check it out.
The lead guitar player and the bass player both write they all write songs, but those two tend to write a lot of hits, and they're very distinct. You can hear the difference between them, right? One's more got like almost like a Beatlesy kind of vibe-ish thing going on, whereas the other ones are very rock and roll, right?
I agree.
Yeah, and I always appreciated that.
That's awesome. And then obviously, guys, I have to ask, like, who got you started out on your perspective instruments? Who were like from some of the first artists that you listened to or watched on TV, and you're like, yeah, it'd be cool to be a musician, I guess. You know, I think I could get into that. And then, who influences your style more currently now?
Well, when I started, it was definitely because of Tom DeLonge.
Oh yeah.
Blink-182 were just the coolest, funniest people. I was like, I want to be like that. I want to have a guitar. And I ended up, that's what I asked for. And I got for my birthday when I was like 13 I think I was 13 when I got that. I still think Blink-182 for the most part are great to this day, but my influences changed huge throughout the years. Like I went from Blink-182 to like stuff like Slipknot and Refuse, which was a big change and jump. But recently, I'd say people like Mike Patton being in like Faith No More, Mr. Bungle, he has like 16 bands, and he just does like he has one not band, but it's like an orchestra. It's called Mondo Cane, and he
Yes,
sings
yeah.
out as a whole orchestra playing while he sings in Italian, and it's like, what? This is the fucking Faith No More guy. That's amazing.
Yep.
And I just find that like inspiring that like you don't have to like be like an ACDC type band and like pigeonhole yourself into like one sound and one thing because that's what people want to hear. It's like make whatever you want to make and just make it good, like regardless of how different it is from the last thing. But very much, I'd say like Mike Patton and anything he does, and I really enjoy bands like Falling in Reverse because they go all over the map with their styles, and I find they're another genre bending band. I really like them. A lot of people don't like them because of their singer, but I think he's very talented, and I think they're a great band. It's one of those separate the artist from the art type thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think great regardless. I'd say those are definitely two major influences. I love bands like Tool. Tool are continuously like one of my favorite bands. Every album they've done is great. Like I've never heard a bad album by them. Nirvana was also a big influence. I love them to this day, but you can only listen to 4 albums so many times, and then you gotta find other stuff. But that's basically it for me right now for newer.
For me, like I had a little bit of a different starting. Like when I have this conversation with a lot of other guys, right, it always ends up being like, "Oh, I heard this band," and it was like, "Oh, I need to play the guitar," right, or whatever. Right? And I bug my parents. Yeah. For me, like I grew up in a band house. My dad's a drummer. Or my dad's a drummer.
Sick.
He's been in heavy bands my whole life, right? So my initial interest was from my dad, right?
Yeah.
Always seeing him playing. So it wasn't so much like I was just kind of brought to play the instrument because of this music. It was more the love of just the instrument off the start, right?
Yeah.
It was like drums were just cool, right? They're big, they're loud, all that. But as the years went on, like, it was a lot of Nirvana, Refused, a lot of punk and grunge through my high school years. And I definitely had a rap phase, right? Which definitely grew into my love of hip hop today because I also love hip hop. But yeah, I listened to all that kind of heavier stuff. And then I went back to school around 26, and then it was like 3 years of just jazz, right? And I'll tell you, like the first year and a half, I hated it.
Yeah.
I had to. But it was about a year and a half in that it was like I started realizing like, oh, I'm actually putting that song on because I just want to hear it and not because I have to learn it or whatever.
Yeah.
The jazz was kind of like beer, right? You don't get a taste for it on your first sip. You need to sip it and then taste for it. But then after school, I ended up kind of back in the rock realm through Dammit Goldie. And since then, like, I've always loved Tool. Danny Carey's been always one of my biggest influences, but he got me really into Periphery.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then other bands that I kind of always draw from are Refused, Deftones, The Police.
Ooh, okay.
A lot of those drummers have really inspired me. Porcupine Tree, right? Moods, the bell pattern in Moods was very much like Danny Carey inspired in some form, right? That off time and then that bar fun. But yeah, that's pretty much where I stand.
I feel that, I feel like Tommy and I are cut from the same cloth a little bit because, well, my parents didn't, the only difference is my parents didn't play any instruments, but they did say like, oh, you should take guitar lessons. So my guitar teachers were like jazz. They went to Berkeley and they learned like jazz music. I was just like, fucking jazz music? Like, what is this shit? This is so weird. But I gotta agree with your sentiment because over the time they kind of like lightly beat you over the head with like some jazz music and you're like, oh, maybe you should check this one out. And you're like, I don't know. And then they're like, well, it's your assignment. You don't have a choice. You got to listen to shit. So then I would listen to it and be like, I don't know. I don't know if I like it. And then shout outs to Jay, one of my teachers. He was playing he was just like reading his sheet music. And I was like, I forget what jazz song it was, but one of the classics. And he's just like moving down like the guitar neck, and I was like, this is actually really cool. Like I used to shit on jazz all the time, but now I like love jazz. It's like there is something that went off that just like there was a switch that turns on and it's like, now you like jazz, you're a jazz artist, you like jazz. Okay, cool.
Yeah, like it's a language, right? Like that's the one thing that I loved about it so much was it's like when I play in rock bands, punk bands, things like that, the music is generally pretty structured,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
They'll ad lib some fills here and there and shit like that, but for the most part, it's like that's what it is. Whereas jazz can take you anywhere, man. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're playing with guys, and if like all the guys are kind of on the level, like you can really do some crazy shit because it's an improvised music, and you're communicating with musicians live on the floor with your instrument, right? And it can be like it's just a different beast, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I love like this is what I've always loved. This is my first love when it comes to music and playing, right? But those couple of years really made me grow to appreciate that type of playing as well.
Oh, 100%. I think like when you see different artists like trade off and have those moments, like one of my favorite kind of jazz like ensembles or bands is Snarky Puppy. If people have not checked out that band, go do that. They're fantastic. Like you cannot say after you listen to them that you don't like jazz because that shit is amazing. You know, I feel like I could make a believer out of you if you like that. Like there's no way.
Watch it.
Yeah, you have to. Josh watched it.
Oh, I've forced them to watch We Like It Here. They did
Oh
that
yeah.
and yeah, like I forced them to watch a couple. And yeah, I remember the first time I showed them, it was like a month after I moved in, and they were not ready for that at all. They were not having. Josh actually was more receptive.
I've had a couple jazz albums that my uncle gifted me throughout the years, and it was Miles Davis.
Nice.
And
yeah.
It was Bitches Brew.
Yeah,
was
I
the
think you're
first
right.
one.
Yeah.
And like for me personally, I'm not into playing jazz, but I like listening to it. I find it like super relaxing. Even the crazy stuff. When he showed me that, I thought that drummer Larnell Lewis, like, crazy, like a beast of a man. I personally like the listening and the talent behind jazz. I just don't so much care about, and then one day I will, but learning how they do all that stuff. And right now, Tommy's been trying to get us to learn because I don't know any theory.
He says trying to get us, but it's trying to get. Our guitar player Evan has been sitting with me for the last like 3 months, and at this point can read basic music and understand basic rhythm. Right? Josh is the one.
Wow. All right. Tommy is holding no punches on this one.
But before that, though, it was both of us. We just didn't really weren't as interested in like learning it because like once you learn something and you figure out your own ways to do it, and you like get to a point of being like happy about like what you're writing, like that takes like a really long time to get to that point. Because if I go back on songs I originally wrote now, some of them it's just like, ooh, I could really fix this. But I'm getting to that point of wanting to learn. I think firstly it'll probably be something to do with vocals, taking some like lessons on how to like properly do everything, because I wing it for
it's
everything.
Like chop the tree down, right? You're just chipping away at it until it finally falls, and it's like, yes, teach me.
You're whittling away, Tommy. I appreciate that.
We're getting there. We're getting
I feel that though, because I'm kind of in both boats. Like I originally, very similarly to Josh, I learned a lot of stuff by ear. My first teacher was very much like the atypical like hair metal 80s guy, cut off sleeves, you know, like shred, you know. So for me, like I learned how to play by ear first, and that's like where I learned a lot of like, you know, old Green Day songs. Like I learned all like power chords, shit like that. And then after that, that's when I started taking lessons. But then I find this like happy medium where like I kind of remember some of the jazz stuff that I did, but also like don't want to lose out on that sort of like inspiration of like being a moron and not knowing music theory and just like allowing your creativity to just do its thing. Because sometimes I feel like, and this is not to call out people who are like immensely more talented than me, but like it's kind of annoying when someone's like, yeah, so that's like a C add 9 plus 7, equals 8 chord. I love that. And I'm like, bro, I just like put my pinky finger like down on like string
Mhm.
6 and like put the other like I don't fucking like I don't know this shit, so like
Yeah.
I like cool, I'm never gonna remember that. I just was like I'm like this about the dumbest person you can think of. I'm just like, oh, chord pretty like that,
Yeah.
like I like that's it. Like I'm never going to take the time to like be like, this is what it is, like these are the chords you can like go from there. I'm just like, if it sounds cool and like pretty to me, I'm just gonna throw it in there, So no
Well,
offense to my music theory homies. I love you guys,
well, and there's guys that are super pretentious about it too. Like my thing is that it has to be that it doesn't have to be, but I mean, like the perfect spot is that happy medium, right? Because I grew up my whole life learning by ear until
Oh
I was
yeah.
20,
Oh yeah.
right? Um, there's guys that if you take away the book, they can't play a note. But then there's guys that if you put a book in front of them, they can't play a note, right? It's being able to have a really good ear, but then knowing some of the language helps,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
When we've had conversations in the past in the band, it's not so much like I want you guys to learn theory, right? Because theory or advanced theory isn't so much like the same thing as just being able to understand the concept of how to measure time, right? I'm a drummer, so I deal mainly with rhythm, right? Not so much harmony. So I'm not badgering them so much about harmony. But like when you hear bands say periphery, right? And you hear riffs that almost sound like they're random, but the whole band's doing it, so it can't be random. How did it come up, right? It's because they can slot it in time, right?
Yeah.
Come with some really creative shit that you end up feeling out because there's a lot of times where you're just feeling something, but then you can't play it again because you really don't know what you just did, right? It's
Yeah.
being able to feel it and come up with something just on the spot without any sort of theory, but then being able to communicate what you just did so you can actually do it again,
Oh,
right?
100%. Yeah. That's how I felt watching like Wildfire, the Periphery song that was off their new album. I was just like, what is going on? Like, am I having a stroke? Is the band having a stroke? Are we both simultaneously having a stroke? Like, who's winning out on this? I don't like. Yeah,
Like a light jazz section and then a
yeah,
song.
yeah.
I was like, what?
I think everybody's natural reaction was just like, what fever dream are we a part of right now? I
They're
need to
sick.
know.
They're
They're
so
sick.
sick.
But yeah, I love the divergent into the music theory. I wish that I probably will spend more time working on that. So, Josh and I have our homework to do on learning music theory. So I'll make sure to
Yeah, I think
check
a
in.
part of theory should definitely be tabs, though, because I taught myself tabs. And I
Tabs
can
are fine.
read songs, no problem. I could learn anything with
I
tabs.
agree.
Don't show rhythm, right?
They'll have the pauses and the little fucking squigglies and all
Okay.
that shit.
Yeah. I agree with Josh. I'm 100% on that board.
Right? Like, there's some of the greatest in the world are don't know a lick of theory, right? It's just knowing some of the language makes it easier to come up with cool parts in a jam spot and not sit there and try and explain it for an hour and a half of where that note actually goes.
Sure.
If I'm playing something and it's like, say,
Yeah.
right? Like some guys may take forever to understand where that note actually lies, so they're either playing it slightly ahead or slightly behind, and the band like together. Whereas if everyone knows like it's on the E of 3, right? Everyone knows to hit it right there, and it's tight, right?
Yeah.
Unless you can just feel the E of 3, play it.
I can be the one that says that I say rather than an hour of explaining it because that's the example here. He gets it.
Oh, that's great. I love it. The playful banter is great between you two guys. So that's how you guys. That's how I know you guys are roommates, because I can see you guys like just do. I do that shit to my roommates, so I get it. So
it's been great for the band. Like, to be honest, 3 of us live together, and like as far as band bonding goes, like we got really close really quick because we've only really been a busy band for a year and a half. We started recording half a year before that, so like two years and change maybe, but within 6 months, right, we were like a tight band because we hang out together all the time, right? We live together. In previous bands that I've been in, I've been super tight with the guys, but you don't see each other all the time. You generally see each other around band stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Me and Josh, like, we hang out constantly, right? Like, most nights we'll sit down and watch a movie, and I'll pass out on the couch, and then I'll wake up to him sitting there watching the movie at 3 a.m. and he'll go, right? So we've gotten super tight over this last little while. It's been great.
That's awesome. Good to hear. Well, the next question I have for you guys is, what are you listening to more currently? You know, what's on your Spotify? What have you been listening to, you guys, lately?
Well, it differs. It goes on like I very much am one of those people that can't just listen to a random playlist. I have to make my own playlist, and I have to have it to like the mood that I'm in, or else
Fair
it's just
enough.
like, it just, I don't know, mucks with me. So I just like, you know, the new Batman that came out?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Soundtrack to that, I downloaded all like 26 orchestra songs, and I listen to that often. And I'd say like Falling in Reverse, anything by them. Like they have a new song that just came out, Watch the World Burn. That's fantastic. It's great. Do you know The Human Abstract?
Oh, do I? Yeah, they're fantastic.
I listened to like their newest, newest. It was like 2011, Digital Veil. I love that. And then, you know, Glass Cloud.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
Yeah. Their EP, Perfect War Forever.
Perfect War, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like, there's certain things that I just hear and I'm like, I've never heard like something quite like these things, and I just love them. But yeah, that's what I've been diving into a lot of lately.
Yeah, those are some nuts bands. Kudos for you listening to those, because those are some wild bands. Love them though. But Tommy, what you got for me?
Well, for me, I've been listening to a lot of Periphery. Been listening to a lot more Turnstile lately.
Ooh, okay.
Super into them. I actually dug a bunch of the new Paramore. It was surprising to me because I was never really a Paramore fan before.
Mm-hmm. But
their new stuff just sounded like it had matured a lot. Like, I don't know, I just really dug it. Norma Jean I've been listening to a lot.
Ooh, yeah, nice.
I've slipped past me because like I love bands like the Deftones and all that shit. But I actually just discovered them like a year ago. All right, and I was just like, "Who's this band?" And I looked, I was like, "Oh,
you know, they're just like
that
they're just a small local band, you know."
Yeah, it's a tiny band. And I've been listening to a lot of like local bands too, because we tend to play with a lot of guys. One of the bands, Junko Daydream, they've like been killing it. They have some amazing tunes. Conversation as well. Also, if you like Alexis on Fire and that kind of post-hardcore kind of stuff, these are definitely bands that are up your alley, because like they're super tight and they're killing it.
Nice. I'll have to check them out. I know you guys are in, you said Hamilton, right?
Yep.
Do you guys know the Northern?
I just saw their name come up. I don't know if it was for a gig, or they might be, I think they actually might be playing some of the shows with Junko Daydream and Cardiac. And we got on a show that they're not on.
Oh.
In April.
Man, they're my boys.
I know I came somewhere.
Yeah, they're around the area. I know that I'm pretty sure. At least I know their drummer Adam is. Shouts to Adam. Love Adam.
Sick.
But yeah, Adam, go see Dammit Goldie, okay? For me, if you can. You know, I know you have like 20 kids, but
let's play a show.
Play a show together. That'd be sick. Then you guys could talk about me. You can be like, that Brandon kid, I hate him. He's the worst. That'd be hilarious if Adam sent me a video and he's just like, yeah, I don't like that guy. We interviewed with him. He's the worst. I don't know why I don't even know why James sent him to us. He's terrible. Just make sure to talk shit about me. It'll be great. And don't show them this video. So then they'll be like, how dare you talk about Brandon like that? I feel like they bag me up so hard and then be like, he told us to say that. And then he'd be like, yeah, that seems like something he would do. That maniac. That American guy.
They're also
what was that, Tom?
They're also aggressive.
They're also aggressive. We're Americans as a collective are aggressive people, so can confirm.
Well, it's just that you guys don't say sorry every 2 sentences.
That's true. We don't.
I don't know where we stand.
It's weird. It's weird because like whenever I see like Canadian bands, like I'll pick that up like unintentionally. Like it's not like I'll just be like, oh yeah, oh sorry, like like. Not that I like feel like I need to say sorry, but it's just like it's just there. So now I feel like if I became a transplant to like Canada, I just have to say sorry all the time.
Yeah. It's
a birthright, right? That's what I feel like.
When you're getting Canadian citizenship, they actually count how many times you say sorry. If you don't meet that number,
if you meet the quota, they're just like
you get every answer correct.
They're like, oh man, you're just short. You're 2 sorries away. Try again next time. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. That's
sorry about that.
Guys, let us know how by the end of this video, I want to know our sorry count. So let us know however many times in the comments. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it, but we'll find out. Yeah. Your computer might simultaneously combust by how many times we said sorry in this interview, so do apologize, which is another way to say sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh man. Next question, guys, is for people who aren't familiar with Dammit Goldie, and this happens to be the first thing that they check out from you. What song would you recommend to a new listener to check out first?
First? Well, depends. Honestly, that's what's kind of fun about our music is that I find it depends on the person. If I talk to them and they're listing off what they like and whatnot, and it sounds more poppy or sounds more rock, then I'll suggest Moods or Something's Missing. But if they're like, oh, I like heavy shit, then I direct them towards Medusa or the next song that we're going to be releasing after that.
It's also heavier.
Yeah, it's heavier.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how I would direct people.
I kind of always direct people to Something's Missing, right? The chorus, it's a banger, right? It keeps the attention the whole time. I look at that as like kind of like the marketing song. It's a good, catchy tune, but it's easy to digest. And then if you like it, it brings you to our other stuff, which may be not as flashy, like Moods, right? For instance. And then you can kind of explore from there. But Something's Missing is usually the one that I kind of guide people to first.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially since I did the inverse and went from Moods to Something's Missing. I would probably say that one's a good starting point, but I would say a lot of my viewer base is mostly in the heavier genre of music, so definitely would recommend Medusa. But all of them are good. I mean, I'm gonna give Medusa a listen, and I'll, obviously you'll see a video about that. But Moods and Something Missing, I think we're like, it's cool to see how much range you guys like put out, because I think I'm even gonna get more of that spectrum with obviously Medusa, but to see kind of that variation between like real like almost like alt sort of stuff, then like more in that sort of like hard rock alt stuff, and then moving more into like the metal and like heavier genres of music. It's cool to see that kind of like shift over of that, and like the different influences that we talked about. I'm very curious to see how all of the songs like stack up comparatively, because I think you put people on this interesting journey of like, okay, Something's Missing, you're like, okay, that's a hit. You can kind of hear a strong chorus. Like, I would totally agree with Tommy in being that's like the song, and then if you like that and you want to kind of see what they're able to do, would definitely recommend Moods as well. I thought that one surprised me because I wish I had gotten my like visceral reaction so I could send it to you guys, but I was like, this is so different. Like, this is like, at first I was like, I feel like this is a song that I need to give more listens to because I don't want to write it off and be like, I don't know if this is really for me or not. But I know that there's something there where I was like, man, I need to listen to this. Just like I need to go through a couple more listens to really get the vibe a bit because I felt like when I went to go listen to Something's Missing, I was like, okay, so there's like pieces within that song that are somewhat in moods as well. So I know that there's this bridge here that I need to like figure out why these songs work together and then how are they going to translate that into Medusa, which is heavier now. So like it's cool to see the journey of how I've gone about listening to the songs. I think it just makes me more excited to get into the next song that comes out after Medusa and like going further because the way that you guys kind of crafted the way that the songs are, I think it makes it more interesting to go back and listen to. Like if you had started off with Something's Missing and then went to Moods, like it might be cool to go back to Something's Missing and be like, oh, okay, here's some like connector pieces to where those songs go. Or, you know, if you start out with the Medusa, like, and then jump over to Moods, like how are those two songs connected? So I am excited to get into Medusa, and you guys can listen to the other two songs, Moods and Something's Missing. There will be links in the description. Go give them some love. Go check out Dammit Goldie. If you haven't already, then I'm gonna come find you wherever you live. And then, no, I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that. That's that's just the angry American in me that just wants to fight.
Sorry
So
about that.
Sorry, yeah. I have to start, I have to take in the Canadian energy here and just say my stories all the time. The next question I have for you guys is if you guys could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
Oh, he's got a million that he
Honestly,
wants.
I play a bunch, but I've been bugging the band for a little bit now to do "Freak on a Leash" by Korn, just because I never really see bands cover that.
That's a hard one, yeah.
And yeah, it's like that's how I kind of learned to sing was mimicking people. Like I can mimic like Billy Talent, I can mimic Korn, I can do all those weird voices. That's how I ended up discovering my own voice, but I can do all those weird things that he does with his voice. I just was like, this would be cool to actually do this live and pull it off. Like, good. The other cover we do that's similar, you can hear like that I can mimic him kind of is we did the Billy Talent cover. This is how it goes.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
And we covered Rise Against, which is also on. We did.
That was COVID.
What was the song? Ready to Fall.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah.
Well, Deadly Rhythm is a tune that I've wanted to cover for a while by Refused.
Yes.
And like our bass player who's now leaving, he plays upright as well, so I always thought it was perfect for that breakdown. It's too bad we didn't get to do that. But a song I covered recently is what's it called? Sound Effects and Overdramatics.
Oh, by the Used.
By the Used. I was like, fuck, this is a heavy tune, man. I remember being into the Used when I was younger. Like I liked their first two albums, then I kind of fell off the bandwagon. But that song came up in my Instagram feed the other day, and I was like, man, I forgot how heavy this tune is. Like, man, this would be a good tune for Dammit Goldie to cover at some point. So that's where I'm sitting right now.
I like that. I guess if my suggestion is, I know you guys already covered a Rise Against, but I feel like I would love to hear Josh's take on like an older Rise Against track, like Prayer for the Refugee or like Savior or like some like a deep cut. I feel like he could kill it, He's already done one, so, I feel like you gotta, get your fill of some Rise Against. So I would say that maybe odd pick. I'm trying to think, what do I feel like Dammit Goldie could do well? I feel like you guys could do like an older like classic rock track pretty well. I don't know, really have one in mind off the top of my head, but I feel like you guys could do like a really interesting like classic rock song.
Really heavy Hotel California.
Well, it's at our last band practice. Actually, I randomly busted into "Man in a Box" by Alice in Chains.
Oh,
Classic rock now.
it is classic rock.
It is classic rock, yeah.
30 some odd years ago, but
Great.
it sounded really good. They're a great powerhouse band. I love all those grunge bands, but that'd be a fun one to do.
That would be an interesting one. I think if my metaphorical token, that would be my pick. I feel like that would be cool. Or a Nirvana track. I think that would be kind of tight. Hear your guys' take on something like that. But guys, let Dammit Goldie know in the comments if you like their options or if you have a new one. Drop them down in the comments. I'm sure they'll check them out. Who knows? You know, you may or may not get a cover. I can't. You know, I'm not in the band, so I don't have any swing on that one. You know, so you have to do it. Do it now. Cool. Thank you. Next question for you guys is: if you guys could pick somebody to collaborate with on an up and coming Dammit Goldie track, who would you love to have on?
Mike Patton, for sure. Like to get him on anything. I don't know. You know Dillinger Escape Plan, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, fantastic.
When they had him as the vocalist, it's
No,
like,
what?
so they have like a 4 or 5 song EP, and he did all the vocals, but it's not really singing. He just does like sounds and makes noises. There is a bit of like vocal stuff, but it's pretty wild. I guess they lost their singer. Something happened. He quit or whatever. And Mike Patton was like, "I'll step in for an album." And it was sick. Just to have his like ideas on something. Him or who would be someone that'd be really good to work with? Like I guess even like Misha from Periphery.
Ooh, yeah.
Pretty interesting with it, like his writing approach and whatnot. Just guys that are like heavy-handed in the writing. Like that's who I'd want to come in. Not so much like just anyone. Like I love Avenged Sevenfold, but I wouldn't like be like, oh, let's get their guitar player to come in to do so. Like it'd be great and all, but I'd rather have someone that like more so creates the whole song.
Sure.
Like
yeah.
the drummer of Avenged Sevenfold was still alive. Like I'd get him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd second Misha, just because of the writing capability. It was fantastic having Wade as well, because he helped with stuff like that too in the same regard. Because he writes with Alexis, right?
Yep. Yep.
That he kind of had ideas for that shifted the song. A little known secret that I don't think we've actually said on any other interviews, but because Wade and Julius co-produced, right? But in Something's Missing, there is a section of guitar riff that was played by Wade. He just goes uncredited. So he is actually in the recording too. And there's some backup vocals on one of the songs where he's in the gang vocals.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we did there's a song that's unreleased right now, and it's like an acoustic piano ballad.
Another wildly different tune.
Because, like,
wow, you guys are killing it.
we had 4 songs that we got to do, but the 4th song was to be an acoustic song. And so we went through them, and it was just very, like, I didn't know what I thought about it, but then Wade added piano to it, and then he had these ideas for background vocals in the chorus that made it very much like The Cure. It's almost like this 80s vibe, like, type thing. I still feel the song needs a lot of work and things added to it, and that's one of the reasons, too, that it hasn't quite got released yet, but, like, what he did bring to that song made me like it, like, a whole bunch more, because it's a very, like, personal sounding song.
Okay. Yeah.
But like yeah, he did quite a bit, but it was
it's like our Swing Life Away.
Yeah.
It's very melancholic. Yeah, I got you.
Brings it down to acoustic from a band.
You guys are really showing the diversity off, I'll tell you what. I mean, like we're gonna have like the heaviest Dammit Goldie song, and then we're gonna have an acoustic ballad. Man. Gotta love it. This is like the most of a gap I think I've heard in terms of like jumping from this sound to this sound. So gotta give you guys a lot of credit for that, because I think sometimes when I have bands on that swing that far out and like out there, sometimes I find that their sound may get lost within that process. But just listening to both Moods and Something Missing and have them be such there are stuff that ties them together, but like also at the same point, there's a lot of stuff that makes them different and interesting. But I don't feel like you guys lose that ability to sound like Dammit Goldie. Like I feel like sometimes that can be lost with bands, but I feel like because you guys create stuff that is so like wide and like kind of like special in its own right within each song, it doesn't feel like, oh, okay, they're really I mean, they're probably stepping out of their comfort zone, but in regards to like what I know you guys can do, it doesn't feel that much different than like if you guys were gonna release like a power ballad or something, and then I would have been like, okay, that's, or like a rock opera or something like out something insane like, and then then they're gonna release a jazz album, and then they'll have an EDM album after that one, um and then they're gonna have a country album to close it out, and then they'll say see you later, and then they'll disappear from life. That's what I'm calling. I'm just gonna call it now. So
Well, credit where credit's due too. It really helps having a singer as strong as Josh, right? Because he can sing so many different styles, like being so into like Mike Patton and vocalists like that, kind of push the sounds of their voice and what they can sing over. That's something that Josh has achieved. So when we kind of bounce into other stuff, he can sing it authentically, right? It doesn't sound like he's kind of really trying to meet that sound. So that's something that makes that a lot easier.
I want to get to that point though of like what you were saying with now they have an idiot, because with like the first band that I did that, the Avenged Sevenfold was their one album, the White Album, where they have like rock, heavy rock, metal, and then the very last song is like this full band orchestra Nightmare Before Christmas sounding thing. And I was like, that's super cool. And didn't sound, and then the song before that's a country song or a Western. And I was like, what the hell is this? And then go forward like 5-6 years when Falling in Reverse released their second album. And within the first song, they added rap. And then the second song is like EDM pop rock. And then the third song has like a dubstep metal breakdown. And then they have a Western sounding song, but with like punk rock vocals over it. I was like, this is awesome. I was like, because you don't get bored. Like there's certain bands that can stick to roughly the same thing. Like Periphery have a sound, and they don't really like do full songs that are totally completely different than the rest, but they have elements of different things to show like how good and talented they are. But yeah, I don't know. There's not like a whole lot of bands that just like will be like, you know what, for this next song, it sounds like nothing like any of our other stuff, and they're just cool with trying it, putting it out there.
You'll have a very unique fan base by the end of this experience, I think.
I don't want to alienate our audience.
I see the split, like the physical split in the room, but I also feel like Tommy's like, please like our band. Oh my God. And then Josh is just like, so we're gonna incorporate EDM, jazz, country, break step into our next album. I hope you're fucking ready for this shit. Oh, sorry, I had to throw a sorry in there, but like, like
Josh is very much like fantasy. Like, I'm gonna do all this shit, right? And then I'm the guy that's like on the like the very, very like, set in the world. So I'm like, okay, that's cool, but how can we make that doable? Right? Like, let's meet in that middle area, right? So it's a really good juxtaposition.
You really gotta like. I really feel like Tommy is just like, all right, we're gonna reel it in. We're gonna okay.
Crazy creative mind.
He definitely
right? And then I reel that shit.
He's like the planner and manager. Like he definitely is the type who wakes up in the morning, has a coffee, starts planning the band stuff. Where I'm more so the type I wake up and have like 10 impossible ideas that I want to do, and how are we going to do a show on top of Niagara Falls with a boat holding the stage so that we can play right at the corner of like just wild, crazy shit. But having both ends of the spectrum, bringing them together can like be good. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating when you have someone that like thinks outside of the box more so, and maybe some things aren't like attainable or achievable. Where you have Tommy, who's much more grounded and level-headed, work out good.
I'll let you know another story that hasn't been on an interview.
Oh wow, you guys are spilling all the beans. I appreciate it.
Spilling all the beans.
Yeah.
Here. When I first joined Dammit Goldie, or before I even joined Dammit Goldie, Josh's original plan was to spend $20,000 on a music video. First thing. Right? I'm like,
The reason I had a whole, so check this out. Let me
this
get
was
into
like
it.
for
Did you
bedroom-
did I, let me zoom in real quick. Did you say
like
$20,000?
right? He's like, we'll get loans and shit like that. And he's like, Evan's recording it in the bedroom. I'm like, so you're gonna spend $20,000 on a music video on 3 recordings in the bedroom? I was like, what's the product? Is the product not the music, or is it the product the music video?
I
So
have so many
that- well,
questions.
In this day and age, because I was like, well, we don't have the means, because everyone that I talked to about doing like a full album or recording a bunch was like so crazy expensive. So I was like, well, everyone's all about videos and content on TikTok.
That's
and
fair.
shit.
That's fair. Yeah.
I made literally, I sent this actually to Cone, the bass player of Sum 41, to like check out. I was talking to him for a while, being like about certain things, but I had made this script and it was like, I don't know, 3 pages long, accurate, where I had it like from 0 seconds into 4 seconds in. This is happening from 4, like
We
I
did
had it,
treat for director.
I had it plotted out to a T, and it was, to be honest though, everyone that read it was like, this is excellent, but how are you afford this? Like
That's-
this is literally
yeah.
a movie in like 3.5 minutes, and it was
The
just like,
Dammit Goldie movie, and then just like an explosion.
Yeah.
so and it went from that to basically redirecting that thought to recording with like
Jesus Christ.
Wade and Julius, which was equally as good.
I was gonna say, yeah.
still love to have seen my music video get made, but it's whatever now.
But that's the example too, right? Because that was his original idea, and I was just like, okay, well, the product is the music, right? You want a good product for music. The
I
music
agree.
video
Yeah.
advertise for that music, right? And then instantly he like diverted over to all these, and then all of a sudden he's talking to the guys that recorded Nirvana and Tool and all these. He has a good way of getting in touch with people that we have no business being in touch with, especially at the starts. We were brand new,
It's because
right?
you're Canadian. That's why they're
Yeah.
all like, "He's a nice guy. He's Canadian."
Yeah, he apologizes.
He
lot,
apologized. Yeah,
right?
there was
Kind of a,
there was just a
whatever.
whole segment where he just said sorry the entire time.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
To be honest, it's like a lot of people say you want to be reserved when you approach people who are like successful and stuff. I do complete opposite, where instead of being like, a lot of people are like, build a relationship, start a conversation. I'll say something quickly, but then get to the guts of stuff and be like, here's my music, this is my idea, blah, blah. And usually whoever I do this to ends up being like, this just recently, actually, I've been talking to the bass player. He was in the band called Drugs, Destroy, Rebuild, until
Yep.
God.
Yeah.
Now he's the bass player of Jelly Roll, the country act. And same thing with him. We talked for a little bit, and then I just sent him music, and he had written back saying like this was some of the best sounding and some of the best writing he had heard from bands that just randomly send him stuff. And it got him talking to us about possibly working together in the future. But it's just like, that's how you do it. Is just like, don't try to like hide what it is that you're
Doing.
for.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't use people ever. Be like, hey, get me famous, but definitely like be passionate about whatever you're doing and show them.
I'm not afraid to stick my neck out. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle ground between like Tommy's camp and Josh's camp, where I like say enough shit where I'm like, listen, if I want to get a band on this show, I'm not afraid to just be like, I would love to have this band on. Just as I mentioned earlier, I will actually shit my pants if Dallas Green comes on my show. Like I hope I actually don't shit my pants because that'd be terrible. But like, content, right? But
viral.
viral content. Man shits himself live in this video. Yeah. But whenever I ask bands on that I don't have a problem just like reaching out to them directly, or like I'll reach out to like their press agent and be like, yo, I really love this band. Like, is there any way I can get them on? Like, I'll do it. Like, I'm not afraid to do that. And I think, I think you have to have that level of like confidence where just do it. Like the people kind of go into this expectation where like you can't do it. Like I think half of the interviews that I probably have here on the channel that I've done, I probably would have never gotten if I just was very passive about it. If I was just like, oh yeah, I can do this. Like, oh, if I talk to this person, then I'll talk to this person. It's like, why don't I just be like, hey man, like your stuff, would love to have you on. Don't know if that's possible. and then they let me know, and if not, then I keep working at it. You know, as Tommy mentioned earlier, just chopping the tree down until that tree comes down. But I'm also like, I also agree with Tommy where like I'm also not planning out like a $20,000 music video. So, you know, what do I know? So I
Well,
don't.
like,
Oh,
relationships are everything, right? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
all about maintaining a lot of good relationships, right? Because generally speaking, the people that I want to reach out to, I usually want to reach out to them because I'm interested in them in some
Yeah.
capacity. Right? So it's like just showing people that like you're not literally just trying to get something from them, that you're actually interested in the person and you're actually interested in maintaining that relationship, even if you happen to get some sort of opportunity through them, right? And that
I'd
that
agree.
could always go back and forth if say I can help in any way or whatever, right? Um,
Just be you and don't be fake. Just
Exactly.
reach out. Like, I don't think
Be
anyone
friends.
plans on like using anyone, but there are people that probably just, I don't know how to communicate properly and come across wrong. But like, if you're just genuine, you just like genuine, sorry, and you just show and you just show people like your shit. I think it's like they see, they're like, this guy's, they're passionate about it.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
they
yeah.
put the work in, and it's good. I mean, and it's just like when we recorded these 4 songs that we did originally, the plan was like, okay, because I'm crazy when it comes down to, and
I wouldn't have guessed that one. I don't think.
we were gonna do just one music video, and now we have 3 music videos for the 4 songs we recorded.
And that was, and you know what? Even this last music video, we have a music video coming out probably, I'd say within a month.
Nice. Okay.
Even with this music video, like he had a full script for it too, right? And down to the second, right? And it had to get altered because it was just, we went bigger in the budget on this video than the last 2, and it wasn't even close to a budget for what was in the script.
I just want to see. I just want to see one of. I just want to see one of Josh's scripts. If he is so succinct on like down to the second about everything, I need to know how. I need to be able to pull some of that like infinite wisdom into whatever I do. You know. So, God, that's awesome.
Shoot me a DM and I'll send you the script.
I promise I won't steal it. I'm not gonna steal it. This is Scout's honor. Yeah. Scout's honor. If I steal it, I'll just say sorry, and then everything gets fixed.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll have to. That is the magic.
You'll have to. You join. That's the pact. You just say so. If you just say something.
Yeah. Sorry. Shit. You said sorry.
Oh, damn it. He invoked the sorry pass. I got to do it. The Treaty of Sorry. All right, guys, that's enough of me making fun of Canadians. I love my Canadian friends, my homies, including Dammit Goldie. But the next question I have for you guys is, I don't typically like asking this question because I think it's a little cheeseball, but I feel like your guys' name is interesting enough to where I feel like I should ask the question is, how did you guys come up with that name? Was that the first name that you guys came up with? And were there any other options before this? Because I looked at your name once James sent it to me. I was just like, is this a band name? Like, is this a person? Like, is this, are we saying like, damn it, to Goldie? Like, there's so many questions I had, and he answered none of them. So now I have to ask you guys.
Well, that was actually what you just said about the whole, like, is it like talking to someone? I did have that idea of having like the comma after damn it and the exclamation mark, but that's so much like Panic at the Disco. They're like panic, comma, at the disco, exclamation mark. But originally the band, when it was just Evan and I had the name The Scenic Route, which I thought was like punky sounding. But it turned out that there was like 5 country bands called The Scenic
That
Route.
sounds about right. Yeah.
We were like, yeehaw!
Yeehaw!
And I was at home one day and I was just, I think I was listening. Well, I had the movie Sin City playing in the background. And I was something. And he just said, there's one part where he says, damn it, Goldie, I don't know who killed you, but when I find you, the bastard, blah, blah, blah. And he goes into this whole thing because he wakes up beside a prostitute who's been killed while he was sleeping. And just damn it, Goldie stuck in my head. And so I wrote it down on paper and I was just like, And at the time, it was Dammit.
Dammit Goldie.
So it was spelled like Canadian, I guess, if you will. So we spelt it like that, and that's where I got it from, was the graphic novel movie Sin City. And then that changed once we all moved in together to the two M's. To
Me and Cam were avidly on the MM side of things, and we held a poll in our Instagram stories, damn it or damn it, and it ended up being very lopsided towards damn it.
Yeah.
Because there was a couple things where it was like people would read the name and they'd read it as Dammit Goldie, right? Even though all people will see it as damn it, there are the few that read it wrong, right? And let's just make it as easy as possible for everyone so nobody can mispronounce it.
Well, do you know the guy, he does video reviews called Two Lit Mafia?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So he reviewed our song. This was before this band, when it was just like Evan and I. And when he was introducing the band, he's like, "Next up, Dammit Goldie." And we were like, "Shit!" This is our like first time someone's like saying our name, and there's nothing we could do to change it. It was already uploaded, so it's like, well, now people are gonna know of us as Dammit Goldie. So it just made more sense to change it to make it shit simple for people. And for me, I was like stuck to it at first because, you know, you come up with like an idea and you have this in your head, and how it's going to look. Changing it, even though it's just one letter, it was like, to me, I had all these reasons as to why I didn't want to. It just looked harsher with an N, where with two M's, it looked like too, I don't know, childlike to me, or too like pop punk to me, like Blink-182, damn it. And I didn't like it at first, but then it grew on me.
It grew on you.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. I'm also glad you guys didn't go with the name The Scenic Route. I feel like that's like every country band's wet dream, I think. So glad you guys didn't wait. Yeah. Or an emo band, yeah. I feel like that's your name if you're like a Dashboard Confessional cover band.
Exactly.
Like, I would have, like, if you had told me that, like, if I was like, if James emailed me, he's like, you're gonna be interviewing The Scenic Route, I would have been like, is this a country band or is this like an emo like cover band? I need to know what if it's one of the two. And they're like, no, it's an alternative rock band. I'm like, bullshit. There's no way they're not that. And then he's like, yeah, it's actually it's Dammit Goldie. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. No, I was like reading it. And I was like, this sounds familiar, but I couldn't place it. So now I know it's Sin City. So that's cool. I like that. I like when bands have like an interesting concept to their name. Not that I feel like, you know, other bands' names aren't, you know, interesting in and of itself, but you guys have an interesting story behind it. So glad you're able to get it figured out. You should have just put sorry at the end of it, you know. Because you cursed, you know, so. Guys, that was the Canadian humor. Thank you. Okay, I'll be here all night.
Album name.
Sorry.
God, that would be like, you might as well just like put like the Canadian flag in the background and just put sorry on the front. Like, you might as well just put all of the like tropes about Canada on one album art cover. It'd be like the Canadian flag, hockey, maple syrup. You have Drake like in the corner somewhere. There we go, guys. Let us know what else should be on the Dammit Goldie album cover. Love to know if you're a fellow Canadian. I am not, so.
Or if you're not a Canadian, picture in English.
Yes. Make sure to tag them on Instagram. Just let them know what you feel like should be on their album.
Our president Tim Horton on there too.
Yeah.
President Tim Horton.
Hence igloo. Like up here in Canada, we've got that igloo technology, so it looks like a house, but it's actually ice.
Like, we don't have a car outside. We have 9 huskies waiting to take us.
This isn't a cat off screen. This is my pet peeve.
Like, a lot of people.
That's what's keeping the power on. Is just the cats are running.
Yeah.
The cats and the huskies are running outside to keep the electric on. And then we have like a little pick outside on the tree that's like getting ready for the maple syrup to draw, just
Oh yeah, you know it.
yeah. I'm gonna and they're on the way right now is they're getting some poutine. So guys, listen.
Can't knock poutine.
Cannot poutine. Yeah.
Treasure.
That is a treasure. You're right. I've been to Toronto. Shout out to Toronto gang. Love my guys out there. But yeah, I got poutine and I was just like, yeah, I like this. This is fucking good.
And something right. That's all you need to know.
You guys do a lot of stuff right. I feel like we do things poorly sometimes. And what I mean by sometimes, it's like, yeah, it's a lot. I'm being very, very neutral on this, but yeah, poutine slaps, guys. If you haven't been to Canada and you haven't eaten poutine, that has to be on the list. And also seeing Dammit Goldie live, that's also on the list. Just so you know.
I will give props to the U.S. I went to a Bills game a few years ago.
Oh, nice.
I was at the merch table. I had just bought a toque, and I was wearing that toque. And a dude that had definitely had like 12 beers walked up, and he's talking my ear off. And then he looks and he's like, "What do you want?" All right. And then he doesn't even give me the opportunity to pay. He just points at another toque. He's like, "Give me that toque," and he pays for it. And he gives me this toque, and he's just like, "Never think Americans are assholes." And he walked away. So I mean, whoever that guy was, if you happen to be seeing this, props to you, bro.
Props. It's somewhere. Yeah, that's great. I like how he felt like the civil service was to buy something for you, but didn't allow you to choose anything. He was just like, "This is the one you're buying."
Yeah.
You're like, "Yes, this is the one I'm buying." Like, sorry. Yeah. So then there you go. That's it, guys. We came full circle. But the next question I have for you guys is my personal favorite. I am a huge nerd, so I love asking this question. If you guys could be a video game character, who would you be?
Ooh. I guess to be honest, out of everyone, I used to play a lot of games, but in the last 10 years, I haven't owned a system. But I've watched people play, and there are a couple games I really like. Like I watched a whole playthrough of Death Stranding, and I thought it was amazing. But if I was to pick two characters, I would say I fucking am forgetting his name, but the guy from Final Fantasy that has the cut down his eye, and he has got the long gun sword, and he has the brown. I think it's Squall.
Yeah, it's Squall. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or Kratos from God of War.
Oh.
Originally, but I think I'd have to land on Mario. I like a lot of video games, but Mario, he's taking on Donkey Kong, he's taking on Bowser, you got Princess Peach in your corner, you're just constantly getting coins, and he's a plumber, so he's been making a good living, bro. There's some money in that, right? So he's got the skill set on top of all that shit he does. Right, he lives in a world where pipes connect everything. It's easy travel.
He's a multi-billionaire. Right? Multi-billionaire.
Right.
Who do you think's fixing those pipes? Mario.
Exactly.
Who would win though, Mario or Sonic? Because Sonic could just I feel Sonic would own Mario because he's way faster. He's got the razor spikes. He can do a fucking fucking. I don't know. I think Sonic would.
Sonic's quick, but Mario's just the man.
Let us know what you think in the comments.
I love that. That's what I was gonna say.
All right.
Josh
Mario gets the star, and then he's invincible. Right? So Sonic can run at him all he wants, but Mario's invincible now, and he's flashing colors.
Yeah, but also Sonic has Supersonic, so and they both,
he gets rings instead of coins, so he's probably well off too.
Well, we could all agree that they would both beat Crash Bandicoot.
That's tough. I don't know.
He's kind of a big idiot, and
he's a big idiot.
And he just passes on his shit all the time. And people always having to tell him what he's got to do and whatnot. I don't know. I think he'd get munked.
Guys, you should let us know. in the comments. I think I don't know. I don't know. That's tough.
Mario has so many powers, so many different types of
He
powers.
does. He does.
Fireball, dun, dun, dun. Sonic would be like, dun, just get out
Yeah,
of the
he
way.
would jump out of the way. That's true. However, I might have to agree with Tommy because Mario has the Mega Mushroom, which turns him into like a fucking like I
A
don't
big-
know, a monster. Yeah.
He just flicks.
He
Sonic
goes
at that
from a
point.
little plumber to a big plumber, and then he tried to flick Sonic, but as his hand is coming down like this, Sonic would be like, soup, 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 boom, fucking hit him in the head.
Ooh, that's tough. I don't know. There's somebody I probably can assume that someone canonically has taken both Mario and as well as Sonic and pinned them head to head. But
I got the homie. I got Luigi in my corner.
Okay, but then on the opposite end,
You got
and you have
we have-
I was gonna say you have Tails, so like dude's like a kid, but he's got like the brain of Einstein. It's like nuts.
Okay, fair enough.
we'd have Crash, who would obviously lose, but then on the other end of the spectrum, if we put Mario and Sonic against like Trunks from Dragon Ball Z,
These are all questions.
I'd murk both of them.
I feel like Dragon Ball Z is like another level of like insane power. Like
Yeah, because
I don't know. I'm not trying to get into a nerd war here. So in the comments,
Oh. I have to actually take everything back. I think I'd be Spider-Man.
And then he would lose for sure if it was against.
Whatever. I'm Spider-Man. I don't give a fuck. I'm sick.
Metal Gear Solid was. Did you ever play Metal Gear Solid?
oh yeah, the Snake, solid
Wait.
Snake.
Yeah, I loved those games. Well, that was probably the last time I had a PlayStation was when the newest one of those came out, and I beat it. And then after that, I was just like, I don't want to play video games for a while. I was always inside. I was like, I need to go do stuff.
Then you were like, man, it'd be great a $20,000 music video, and then you started your journey after that point. So canonically came full circle. We love it. Shout outs to Josh's dedication. He's like, I'm gonna sell this PlayStation so I can fund my $20,000 music video.
Yeah, there's $300 towards it.
Yeah.
There you go. Respect. Guys, let us know in the comments who you think would win in a nerd battle between both Sonic and Mario. Because we already know Crash Bandicoot's not in this shit, so don't lie. I know you're typing Crash Bandicoot's great. No, you're wrong. So don't even put that comment away. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. If you want to comment Crash Bandicoot, I would love to hear your thesis on why you feel like he should be competing amongst those two. But
Yeah, definitely have the right to comment Crash. Just know you're wrong.
yeah, and then just say sorry after, and we'll have to abide by that rule. So,
Sorry.
how many times are we gonna make that joke? I don't know. We'll find out. The next question I have for you guys is: if you were to compile a dream tour lineup including Dammit Goldie, who would be on it?
That's tricky. I would
Now, is this like a festival style lineup or like just like a 4-band kind of night?
I'm thinking like a 4-band bill plus you, so like a 5. We're talking about a real stacked lineup coming to Hamilton, Ontario, and the greater beyond.
I'd probably have. I don't know. I'd probably get like. Shit, this is so hard.
I would go Refused. I would go Deftones. I would go Periphery. And for my fourth, maybe I'd go Tool.
Ooh, wow! All right.
I'd
Mhm.
probably have now. Damn it, because it's so difficult. I would love to have anything by Mr. Mike Patton. So either Faith No More or Mr. Bungle, one of the two. I'd probably go with Mr. Bungle. Just
I mean,
because
if he's there, you could have both.
yeah. Well, I'd probably have them falling in reverse, and then I don't know, because I would also pick a band like Tool to be like the main one. Parkway Drive would be good too.
Ooh.
Yeah, I guess Mr. Bungle, Falling in Reverse, and Parkway Drive. What's your fourth? Wouldn't we be the fourth? Oh, is it 4 plus us?
Yeah.
4 plus you.
Damn. Then I don't know. I would have to say probably like Glass Cloud.
Oh, wow.
They're heavy. They're gnarly. And it's like, I love them because it's like, if you haven't heard of them, they have one guitar player. Well, I don't even know if they're kicking anymore, but they have one guitar player that plays like a 10-string guitar, and he's just a beast. It sounds like there's 2 guitar players, and he's just like doing everything himself. I forget his name, Joshua something, but really good band. That's who I'd probably.
I would agree. Unfortunately, Glass Cloud is disbanded, but shouts to Josh Travis. That's their guitar player. He is He is like one of the coolest like heavy guitar players of I don't know, in a long time. Also, I don't know if he was a part of this band, but if you like that style of music, Tony's Tap Danza Extravaganza is another band that you should check out.
Tap dancing.
Isn't it tough? It's hard. Yeah. It's Tony's Tap Dance Extravaganza. I got it. I had to say it really slow like an idiot. So there you go, guys. Check them out. They're great. Very sick band. But guys, if you want to hear these sick tours, with Dammit Goldie, they, much like everything else, they're spilling the beans. They're going on a world tour with all of these bands right now. So if you want to hit the pre-sale link, it's actually in the description. So like if you go check that out and you go give them a follow on Spotify, like those tickets will be unlocked to you. So like, just saying, if you want to go,
say sorry, he's lying.
Don't say that. I'm trying to bump your follower count up on Spotify right now.
Sorry.
Man, I thought Josh was gonna really believe me and just like, I thought he was gonna lean more into it, but that obviously didn't happen. But guys, you should still go follow Dammit Goldie on Spotify, because, when they do announce this tour to happen, then, then I won't be a liar. So then that'll be good. But in this moment, I'm considered a liar, but like, I'm going to believe that that's true. So I'm going to say that I'm not a liar. So yeah,
It's just a summer thing. Right?
Yeah, it's real. It's real. It's out there. We put it out online. It's on the internet. So it's got to be true. So, I'm just saying, you heard it here first.
Out there, whether you're Deftones, Refuse, like obviously you're watching this, make sure reach out, have your people contact our people. We'll set something up.
Yeah.
Right? Opening for us.
Yeah, we'll give you some sort of cut.
The DMs are open, guys. I just want to say, so I know you watch my stuff. I appreciate it. Respect to the family out there. But the next question I have for you guys is, in your opinion, who puts on a great live performance in terms of the bands you've seen?
I've seen a lot of good shows. I can't think, like one of the best shows that I've ever seen. It was small, personal, and it was very energetic. Was I saw when Billy Talent released their first album. They were like 3 months into being known, and they played in this bar in Hamilton, I believe, called The Drink. A very small bar. And it was amazing. The energy, everything. It was just like, I was blown away. Like they changed, obviously, as you get older, things change. But when they were young and fresh out of the gate, like, holy crap. Like, it was just like, I remember leaving that show being like, I'm glad that I quit sports to be in a band.
Love it.
For me, Refused was definitely the best. I've seen a lot of shows. 9 Inch Nails for visuals was probably up there. Same with Tool, but as far as just like stage presence with not even close to the same production to kind of back up that visual, Refused was just wild, right? Dennis was through the audience on the bar. Like I saw them at Rebel nightclub in Toronto. It's a smaller spot than say the amphitheater, and it was just electric. And as far as local bands, I mentioned them earlier. Junko Daydream is like wild as well to see live.
There we go. I love that.
Recently, Tommy and I went and saw Falling in Reverse in Hamilton, and
I went as support.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to go with them, so I went.
And it was a really good show, but it was funny because like midway through that show, they actually did a song called "Just Like You," and the chorus is like, "I am aware that I am an asshole." And before getting into the song, he did this little speech, and they're from the States, right? And so it's funny that he called out Canadians because he's just like, "I'm very aware that I'm an asshole. How many people here are assholes who can talk shit about me on Twitter?" And only like a few hands went up. And he's like called everyone out, and he's just like, "You guys have to stop being so nice here," blah blah blah, and went into this whole thing. Just reminded me of us talking about Canadians saying sorry all the time. You don't notice it until people pointed out how, like, I guess nice we are here and say sorry all the time, but I don't know it because I've never met like an awful American, so I wouldn't know. So hearing for their word, I'm like, I guess we say sorry a lot. I don't know.
I'm glad you could meet me. I'm an off. No, kidding. I think I'm like decently average. You know, I'm not. I feel like if you step on my toes, then you know the claws come out. But otherwise, I feel like I'm a cool cucumber. You know, it takes a lot to get me riled up. So, but I I liked what Tommy was just like. I didn't go there because I wanted to go. I went there because I wanted to be an emotional support to Josh. You know. That was great.
Because Ronnie Radke got into that big beef with Sebastian Bach, right? Over the laptops. I guess Falling in Reverse, their crew left some laptops and they couldn't perform a show because of it. I just wanted to troll the situation and bring a big sign that said Sebastian Bach was right and just hold it up in the front row. Regardless if I believe it or not, right? I didn't. Although Escape the Fate was on first. And I remember I had a thing of Pringles because I hadn't eaten that day, and we were literally in like the front row, and I was just standing there eating these Pringles, and the singer like looked directly at me. The other guy I had never met walks up. He's like, "I love that you're eating Pringles right now in the front row." Not really doing anything but watching and eating Pringles.
Oh, that's great.
It was entertaining.
Man. It was. There you go. Well, at least you like somewhat enjoyed it, and you know you were there for your friend. That seems like a very commendable thing. So, kudos to you, Tommy. You know, I don't know if I would have done the same thing for Josh if I'm going to be honest, but you know,
none of our other friends did.
So then you're the best friend, Tom. That's what it comes down to.
I leave the show, and there is now one Falling in Reverse tune that I don't mind. And nothing against them, like you said, like they're very talented. Ryan Radke's a very talented singer. It was just never my cup of tea.
I agree. But yeah,
time you see a band live, there's more to take from it, right? The show kind of, and yeah, one of the tunes I came out more of a fan of.
I will say this: Falling in Reverse, it's kind of like jazz. Takes a little bit of time to get into, but once you get it,
full circle,
you love it.
I gotta disagree with that one. I don't know if I agree with that one, Josh. That was that take I don't agree with. I've agreed with everything you've said thus far, but that I gotta draw the line. That's not even close to jazz. All right, but at least for me, I feel like for me it's like I grew up listening to Escape the Fate, and when Ronnie was the lead singer. And I was like, oh, okay, those are classic, emo tunes, certainly. But I feel like he's the type of individual that I would never want to associate with. So that's kind of my stance on it. But I get why people like the music, because I think the musicality of it is cool. Like, shout out to Luke Collins. Like, I've met him multiple times. He fucking kills it. And I'm glad he's doing something that's like, I'm glad he's out on tour doing the shit he loves to do, because that's awesome. But yeah, I can't stand by what he says. Like, even if it is separating art from artistry, like, I don't like their music. So I feel like, to me, it's like I don't like their music and I don't like their singer. Okay, those two things they go hand in hand, and I'm like, all right, well, it's just not my cup of tea. I'm not gonna shit on it, but
You'll get that.
I will not, Josh. I can assure you, I will not get. No amount of baby steps will get me to that point. I've already said, okay, see you later. That's not on my list of bands I want to listen to, and I'm gonna stick to that. I'm not gonna. Not about it, but you enjoy it. You enjoy it, Josh. Like, if people like Falling in Reverse, I'm not here to dunk on them. I'm not here to take a shit on them. You like shit you like. There's probably bands that I like that you don't like. So I mean, that's what makes the world go round. And I'm not here to say Josh had a shit take. That's on him. That's. Yeah, I'm just here to interview Dammit Goldie. That was my vibe. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to promote your band, not here to promote Falling in Reverse. So that's what we're here for.
I will say, when we got the tickets, I was like, okay, it's Falling in Reverse. There'll probably be some sick opening bands at least, right? It's like it's a tour coming up here, and the opening bands were Escape the Fate, Papa Roach, and Hollywood Undead. Like, Jesus, there's really no winning here.
You're like, you're.
But fair for the people out there that like are fans of those bands, because to be honest, the only band that I went that night to see is Falling in Reverse. But I'm not huge into like Hollywood Undead, for example. But for what they were a fun party band. Like, if I was having a party and I could pick a band to play it because they'd be fun, those guys, they played a Johnny Cash song and then go into their weird rap emo. So like, did a full on early one morning I was taken, like Johnny Cash. It was like, I thought it was dope. And they had these heavy party songs, and they just were very good at like hyping the audience up.
Sure.
And Pop Roach too. They're like, their
show was really entertaining.
Yeah, the singer's energetic. He ran through the audience, and it was a big arena that they played. He went through the audience, and he was going, and they put on like quite a show. Escape the Fate, it's not that they were bad, it's just ever since Ronnie left, I just haven't been as big into them. I found that they've changed their sound like quite a bit, but they performed well for like what they do.
That's cool. Well, it's good to hear. Obviously I grew up listening to Papa Roach, so I feel like they're one of those bands that I'll probably inevitably go see just for like the nostalgia, but yeah,
I didn't realize, like, I completely forgot about it. They'd play a song and be like, oh, this song actually isn't that bad, right? And they sounded great live and put on a really good show.
That's good to hear. Shout outs to Papa Roach. I know you watch my stuff, so much love. If Ronnie, if you watch my stuff too, you can thank for not shitting on you, because that is what it is. You do what you do. That's your shit. I'm not just gonna I'm gonna keep that away with like a 10-foot pole. So do whatever you want. Next question I have for you guys is, if you're trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one album you could bring with you to listen to, what album would it be?
One album? That's such a hard question.
It's a month, Tommy. Come on, I think you can do it.
And I guess like there's so many albums that I could choose for that I would love the whole month.
A whole month though, like where it's like only listening to one thing and I'm listening to it is it like one of those things I get to choose when it plays, or it's just always playing?
That's tough. That's up to you. I'm gonna leave that in your court.
So if it's something that I get to choose when it's playing, I'd probably go with your guys' favorite band. I'd go with Falling in Reverse's second album. I'd go with Fashionably Late.
I had a feeling. I knew
But if it was playing constantly, like I couldn't shut it off, something that I wouldn't get annoyed with, I'd probably put on The Eminem Show by Eminem.
Oh, wow. Okay, I was not expecting that answer. That's okay. That's a good one.
I think the first one that came to my head is probably The Safest Bet, and that's The Shape Punk to Come, Refused. Right? It's just such a good album, from start to back. And if it was constant,
I'm talking even when you're sleeping. That's why I picked Eminem. Rap, I could be awake to grooving, or I could like be napping to it. Where if I had fucking metal going and I'm trying to sleep.
Okay, so if it was constant, Does that mean I can still pick what song is playing, or it's just the album?
The album.
in
It's just
order?
the album just playing.
Back. Ooh,
It's just cycling.
I think at that point, oh, that's difficult. I was gonna say something like snarky because it can be background music, but then you got like the middle of the night, you got this crazy horn fucking solo.
Yeah.
May not be great. I would probably go with. I think I'd go with Lateralis Tool.
Ooh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
I
It's
like that.
heavy. It's not like screeching heavy. All right. And
It's
there's
not-
lots of, like lulls, and it does kind of, it's a bit of more of a journey.
It's not like break your neck heavy.
Exactly.
I got you. Yeah. It's got enough juice in the tank for you to like really enjoy it, but not so much that you will never be able to sleep again.
Exactly.
Glad I nailed it.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. The next question and the final one, as much as, I could continue talking to you guys for a good bit, the train has to stop at some point here. I love interviewing bands. It's been a passion of mine for well over 7 years now. And every time I have a band on is always interesting. So thank you for spending the time with me, of course. But why do you guys make music? Why is that a priority to you? I feel like anytime I ask this question, it's like you could be doing anything else with your time, your life. Why do you spend your blood, sweat, and tears into making music?
I was no good in school, so I figured I might as well do something that I'm good at.
That's fair. You are good at it. Despite of my like opinion of falling in reverse, that doesn't affect me loving what you do, Josh. So, just wanted to point that out just in case somebody was going to comment that down below. I still love Josh even if he loves falling in reverse. Just remember that.
And honestly, it's like it's cool when you hear your song totally finished. Like, I don't know, just to me, that's another big thing is like you have these little ideas where you're like, this song's okay, but then you hear the whole thing finished. And once it gets to these different points that you didn't see the song at before, like we have this one song called Loser that we had. And before I just looked at it as like a typical pop punk type song, but then I took a stab at recording it and then we all like finished it together. And now whenever we play that song live, it's probably like one of my favorites. And whenever we go into the bridge, just like if your own song can like give you goosebumps at parts, I think that's like super important. It's like when you were a kid and like any movie basically could like affect you and take you into like that dreamland. As you get older, you find that things don't like do that as much for you unless you're very like have like a huge imagination and just like can always be like that. Eventually you get to picking through things, finding things. And I find with music, it's never really the case. It's either garbage or it's everything and you love it and it just does so much for you. And like whenever we finish the song, if we record it during rehearsal and just on our phone, I'll probably listen to that horrible god awful recording for like a week, even though it's damaging the shit out of my ears because it's not properly recorded. It's just like, it's cool when you can get those type of vibes. And also just having guys in your band that can like bring the song that you write like to life is like, it's really cool. It's like owning a business and hoping that it goes well. But like in this business, it's so far like every song that we turn over goes well, in my opinion. So that's why I write music. I enjoy it. And there's nothing else really that I enjoy more than doing it. Like, and as Tommy would say, I could be doing a lot more in terms of like the learning process and all that stuff. But like, I'm just a very spazzy guy, and I'm also very lazy, so it can just like go hand in hand. But it's also because when the creative side starts flowing, it's just like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
For me, I honestly I really love my instrument. Right? I love rhythm. I love the concepts of what can be done with time, right? And I love the feeling. Like, my favorite thing in the world is performance, right? Getting on stage and just
Mhm.
kind of playing, right? Because don't get me wrong, I love jazz music and I love the possibilities of what can be done with music. But there's something to be said about a simple song that brings you to a point where you're kind of just fully invested in that song.
Sure.
It isn't
Yeah.
the craziest technical thing in the world, but it evokes some sort of feeling, whether that's an angst or an anger or a sorrow or a happiness, right? Being able to do that, and especially do it live, and see other people react in that kind of same manner. Like, nothing beats when you're trying to put something out there and you see people kind of taking it, right? It's just such a great feeling. And on the other side of it, like, it's like what Josh said, right? Seeing something that was just an idea come to life as like a full piece, and then hearing all the intricacies and all the details that end up going into it
Mhm.
before it's finished, right? And then you hear that finished product, and it's like, it's just very rewarding and satisfying. And like, I think all of us, right? Like, this is something that we were interested in at young ages, right? It was something that kind of just sat above everything else that we could possibly do. More interesting, more fun. We feel it a bit more. And it's just what we all gravitated towards.
Yeah, no. I think those are good two great answers. You know, I think for me, like, um anytime I have a band on and I like try to compare my passion for what I do and people's equal amount, if not more passion for making music, um it it shows a different side that you don't get when just listening to the song. You know, like you can find so much more respect or admiration for an artist doing what they do because you know they genuinely love doing it. I'm not saying that bands don't love what they do. Like I feel like if you're a part of this genre or you're part of, you know, music in general, you have to love it because there's no money there, you know, unless you're like a massively big band. You're not like, I mean, unless you're
We're
Josh and you're coming up with like a $20,000 music. I know I keep bringing that joke up. I'm sorry, Josh. But I feel like it's like that. I feel like it's the thing where you do it almost to the point where it's like a little stupid, you know, because you're like I need to do this. Like there's something about it that just calls you to do it. Like that's why like anytime I have a band on, like that's why I try to take the due process of listening to the band before I have them on and like really caring about what they do because I think if I'm more invested or I give a shit about what they do, then I hope that that translates into me doing a better interview or me being more in love with what, you know, whatever band I have on. And you know, I definitely feel like I have a much stronger appreciation for Dammit Goldie if I didn't like happen to find you guys on like social media and, you know, James didn't shoot me over an email. I think I would have inevitably found out about your guys' music, but now I have much more of an appreciation for it because I'm like, oh, I had you guys to interview. You're talking about, you know, the levels of detail on, you know, how you're going about writing these songs and taking the time and the due effort to put into it. And I hope that people understand that that's a process and it takes time and it takes effort and it requires money to get to that point and do that sort of thing. So, you know, it is in that sense a sacrifice. So I hope that people listen to whatever band I have on or just bands in general, really, that all spend their time, money, energy, whatever you want to insert here, list of things that bands do all the time because it's a dedication, it's a thing, you know, like the and so yeah,
it really
I hope people will really take, you know, ownership of that. But what were you gonna say, Tommy?
Well, with Dammit Goldie, like, it is one of those things where it's like everyone takes it seriously. Like, everyone, like,
Yeah.
we don't have backing or anything like that. Like I said, we're a fairly new band. We've only been busy for just over a year, so we all have our jobs, right? Like, one of us will be booking shows. One of us will be doing our socials. One of us will be doing like our distribution and all that shit. And then there's art and all that stuff, right? And everyone kind of puts their thing in. And my whole philosophy on that coming in was like, whatever job ends up being your duty, learn it like it's a second career. Learn it like you've been a company or hired by a bigger band. Research what you're doing and become good at it, right? See what people at a higher level than us are doing, and how can we do that in our way, right? And it's been like a very kind of, it's only been steps forward because of the fact that everyone takes it seriously, right? And everyone's willing to put their effort into it because they care about the music and what it.
And that's awesome. Well, you know, all that hard effort and hard work will go into this next point, the final point, guys. Tell them where they can find Dammit Goldie at, what you guys have coming up in the next couple months, and anything else you would like to plug or shill or whatever.
We have a new music video for Medusa coming probably within a month.
Yes.
Another single coming in the next couple months, 2 or 3 months. We haven't set a release date for it yet. We're touring out east in Canada, Scotia, PEI, all that in August. And other than that, we're just playing lots of shows, and you can find us pretty much anywhere you stream music, or Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever the newest social media is, we're on it.
TikTok, they're on OnlyFans, they're on, they're on. Wow. All right. Well, you heard it here first, guys.
You know, bands do that. Eh? I didn't know this. I thought
I didn't know. No, I was just making a joke. I had no idea.
Bands, they will actually put up like full performances. So, like, let's say Falling in Reverse had one, right? And no one could access it, but you pay $25 to get this video of them performing, like, or they don't do this. I'm just using them as an example.
Because they're your favorite band.
Yeah, and then you can get this like rehearsal style personalized video that you can watch and stuff. But I just felt it always be odd being like, yeah, we have an OnlyFans. Like, I don't know. It's just,
we also have a channel on Pornhub.
Yeah.
Nice. Very sick. I'm not going to link that in the comments here, but I will link everything else, guys, where you can find Dammit Goldie at. I'll leave all of their social media. I can't leave the Pornhub link. I'm sorry, guys. You're going to have to DM them privately for that one. But that'll give you a good incentive to go give them a follow on Instagram. So go do that. Go, again, go give them some love. I also subscribe to their YouTube channel, which you should do as well if you don't want to miss out on new songs. So I'm in the loop. Are you in the loop? That's the real question. So go check them out. Also, again, massive shouts to James. Always love that dude. Big salutes. He's the homie. So much love over all of the years. If you enjoy this interview, share it, like it, subscribe. It goes a long way. And huge thanks to the Dammit Goldie guys for coming on tonight.
Thank you so much for having us, Brandon.